Hey, welcome to Playing for Keeps, the show where we take a deep dive into emotional intelligence, sex, love, adult attachment theory, mental health, therapy, and everything in between that creates great relationships. Your host, DJ, is a certified life coach and emotional intelligence practitioner. She's here to be of service to all the listeners interested in love and relationship. Now, here's your host, DJ.
Hello, everyone. This is your girl, DJ Robinson with Plan for Keeps podcast. And today I have Vaishali Nakade, psychic Vaishali Nakade. Having read with lots of psychics and not getting anywhere, Vaishali decided to learn how to do psychic readings herself. When she started doing readings on herself, she was fascinated by the results. Her predictions actually came true. This was refreshing to her. Wondering if this was just a fluke, she started to offer them to other people, and her clients came back reporting the readings playing out in real life. Her relationship readings predict the details about a person's future boyfriend or girlfriend. She has successfully predicted the descriptions of people's future boyfriend and girlfriend, how they met their partner, and other such details with an uncanny accuracy. Vaishali's psychic readings are clear, concise, and accurate. No sugarcoating, no beating around the bush. She presently does over 1,000 readings per year with clients reporting results of predictions playing out in their real lives. Vaishali offers readings for love, relationships, as well as other future forecastings for questions related to anything anyone has inquiries about. No questions is a stupid question, and no two readings are similar. Well, welcome to the show, Vaishali. How are you today?
I am good. How are you?
I am doing pretty well. So let's kind of dive into it. So in the beginning of your introduction, you said that you basically talked to a lot of psychics and you didn't get anywhere. So could you tell us what kind of events led to you becoming a psychic?
Okay, cool. So there's two major events that led me to becoming a psychic, or maybe three. The first one was I was on a site where there were some psychics who were doing video readings. And one of the psychics said that, she's going to be teaching. So she invited me to her room. It's like a video breakout room on Zoom sort of a thing. So I went in her room, whatever the day and time of the scheduled thing was. And then she started teaching. So I went there a few times and I kind of got a hang of what it's like. At the same time, I was also looking for guidance. So I contacted a lot of psychics, and this was work related issues. I contacted a lot of psychics. So I went to 1, 2, 3, 4. And soon it became 10, 20, 30, 40. And, I went through maybe, I want to say like close to 40 or 50 psychics. And none of them could tell me what was going on. And I was getting really, really frustrated and irritated. So I said, you know what, screw you guys. I'm just going to learn how to do this myself.
Wow.
So that's how I kind of went in and I decided to learn how to do the readings myself. And there is a story about how I got started, which is how I started having belief or faith in how the readings work. So when I first started learning how to do the readings for myself, I would just kind of look at some small events like, I would do daily predictions, how things are going to play out this morning or today and so on, because that's like the easiest way for me to be able to compare the results. And I kind of narrowed the time frame even further by just looking at what would happen if I went to the gym. So back in the time when, people used to go to the gym, this was a long time back. So I would alternate between two different things for the cardio workouts. One was the Stairmaster and one was the running. So after a few days of all the readings playing out as predicted, I kind of got irritated. I'm like, why Why is it that the reading is showing me what's going to happen? I'm going to disprove it. So I decided that if the reading showed that I'm going to do the Stairmaster, then I would end up running. And if the reading showed that I was going to run, then I will do the Stairmaster. So I would prove the reading wrong. So then I looked at the reading, and what the reading showed was there is a lady at crossroads. And when I looked at that, I laughed so hard. That's the day I actually started believing in readings.
Wow. Okay. So let me ask you this: what are the most common questions asked when people come to you for readings?
So most of the people, when they come to me for readings, the entry point of each client is different. A lot of people start with questions related to relationships. A lot of people have some sort of legal cases going on. Some people have career issues, finance issues, money issues, business issues. So all sorts of different issues. And essentially they are looking for clarity on how things are going to play out in the future, sort of a thing. But one thing is there, that no matter what kind of client I get, and no matter what their entry point is, a lot of the clients, I want to say like over 90% of the clients will at some point in their readings with me have questions related to relationships, related to love. And I have read clients from not only from the US, but like from a lot of different countries. And no matter where you go, everybody has almost like the same theme of the questions. It doesn't matter like how they phrase it or how they ask it, but the essence of the questions related to relationships, related to romance, it remains the same. And I have read people from like 20 years old to like 75 years old, and the common essence or the common theme, it still remains the same in all the questions.
Wow. Okay. Okay. Examples of a few love description readings that ended up playing out. Could you give us some examples?
Sure. So in the love description readings, what I do is I give out predictions on how things are going to play out. Like I give out predictions regarding the description of their future boyfriend or girlfriend. And different things show up in the description at different times. So, for instance, one of the girls, I had predicted that, her boyfriend would be at some sort of a special age. So, special age is numbers like, 20, 30, 40, 50, or 22, 33, 55, and so on.
Mm-hmm.
So she came back to me and she said, yeah, her boyfriend was indeed at a special age. I believe he was like 50 years old, and she was around the same age. One of the other gals, I told her that the guy she was going to meet, he would have really, really nice hair. And she came back to me later and she said that his hair was like very lush and very rich and very nice. In fact, this particular client, she went through that relationship, and once she was done with that relationship, she came back to me for the description of her next boyfriend because she was done. Some other events, they include the meeting of a person. Some other readings, they include the meeting, like how you will meet your future girlfriend, how you'll meet your future boyfriend.
Okay.
So for that one of the guys, I had predicted that they would meet in a very close and a confined space where there wasn't much light and there wouldn't be much room to move. So guess where they ended up meeting? Do you want to guess?
So would it be a dark alley? I mean, dark alley.
You're close, but not quite there.
Let's see. I can't think of another like confined dark space. Where did they end up meeting?
So they ended up meeting in an elevator, actually.
Oh, wow. Okay, yeah, that is pretty close to that. Let me ask you this. I'm curious. So, do you have people who come to you that's in present relationships with, like, if they're trying to find out if their boyfriends are cheating or if their girlfriends are cheating or any other relationship issues like that? And then are you able to give readings on that as well?
Sure. So, as far as cheating is concerned, yes, it is a very common question. A lot of people ask. They are concerned if their boyfriend or girlfriend is going out with somebody else, or if they are dating somebody else. I get that question. I don't want to say a lot of times, but quite a few times.
Okay.
And I am able to look into that, and I can also give them clues, like, what it is they should look for or something like that. So that is one thing. However, there are also people who are kind of looking at multiple people, like they haven't even made up their mind as to whom they should go out with, so they have like a list of 4 or 5 people.
Wow.
And I was reading this girl the other day, and she has like a list of, I want to say, like at least 5 people. And I just asked her to number the guys, and I just told her, okay, with this guy he's not worth it, with this guy it won't last, with this guy you won't get along. So this way, once she has a little bit of an idea, she can use it to make better decisions or narrow down her choices as to whom she is going to move forward with, so that it doesn't end up being like a waste of time. So
God.
instead of scattering her efforts in 5 different places, she's kind of honed it down to a few guys she should work on. So does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, okay. So what would you say your reading style is?
Okay, so my reading style is more like, I want to say I'm a little blunt, because I don't cater to the people who kind of want to hear what they want to hear, sort of a thing.
Okay.
Like, there's a lot of girls who come to me, and they just want to know, like, I want to say, like, how he feels about me. Is he going to call me back? Those kind of questions. And some of those questions are very direct. Like, if the reading says no, then I don't really give them a yes, and I tell them no. And some of them, they don't like me for it. Some of those people, they come back to me after 6 months, and they say, there was this one gal I read, and she came to me. I think she found me through Google, and she came to me, and she was asking about her present boyfriend, and I told her it wasn't going to work out and they were going to break up. And nobody wants to hear things like that, because I think that's pretty brutal. But
Yeah.
I don't really process the information that I get. I just give it out. And sometimes it may come across as something which is kind of blunt, or not sugar coated, or not being very sensitive to a person's emotions. But I don't really govern that thing. I just give it out the way I get it. And this girl, she actually came back to me after 6 months, and she said that, whatever I had told her in the reading, it was actually correct. And that relationship really didn't work out. But she said, you know what, I wasn't really ready to hear that. So she had to kind of go through her own processing
Yeah.
and come to that point that, it wasn't going to work out. There's one more example, which is, there was this gal who came to me. This was a while back, I think around maybe over 5 years ago. And when she came to me, she was asking about her then boyfriend. And I told her that I didn't see them together. And she mentioned to me that she had gone to like a dozen full of psychics, and all of them said that they would be. And I kept saying no. So she came back to me after a year and told me that, yeah, you know what, they ended up splitting, and everybody else had kind of led her on, or kind of told her what she wanted
Wow.
to hear.
So that's what a lot of psychics do then. So a lot of psychics will just tell people what they want to hear versus what they read or the truth.
Yeah, I don't want to speak for other people, but this is like her case, where she
Okay.
told me that she had gone to like 5 or 7 people, or maybe a dozen, like around 10ish. And all of them said that they would get back. And I told her that I didn't see it happening. And I said that, I hope that I'm wrong. Uh, so, and I didn't hear from her for a while, because she was probably like really disappointed and distraught with everything that went on.
Yeah.
But she came back to me later and she told me, and she read with me for quite a while.
Wow. Okay. Okay. So Let me piggyback a little bit on what you said in your introduction when you said you went to about 40, 50, 60 different psychics and nothing really played out. From your experience, would you say that those psychics kind of tried to tell you what you wanted to hear, or do you feel like they were giving you false information, or they didn't really know how to read, or what? I guess what for people who aren't familiar with psychics and how they work, what makes a difference in a psychic who really knows what they're doing versus a psychic who is just kind of reading to just read? If that makes
Right. So I say that, if you want to experience something, then you should have something really, really small. Like, give me something substantial which I can see with my own eyes, which will make me believe. Just like how I gave you the example of the gym.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll give you a more recent example. I was at a conference, an online conference, sometime in the last 10 days. And I met this guy, and I told him I would do like a sample reading for him. So since I didn't really know him or know much about him, I said, listen, because I don't know you and you don't know me, and we don't know how this is going to pan out, the best thing for me to do would be kind of show you how your week is going to play out. And that is something that will give you a verifiable result in a week. So I did that reading for him and gave him a prediction of how the week would play out. And the reading was a little nasty in the sense that it showed that he will get emotionally kind of stabbed.
Wow.
And there would be something drastic that would happen. So he messaged me on Facebook yesterday, and he mentioned that, yeah, something happened with his son, and his son was about to break up from him, and the words that his son said to him were pretty brutal. So I want to say that if you go to someone, if someone is saying that, I see this thing, I see that thing, don't go with this thing and that thing. Go with something substantial. Like, can you show me something verifiable? Can you show me something that is going to play out, say, in the next week or so, that I can look at, verify, and say that, yes, this is real, this works.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's just beating around the bush. Yeah, like I see someone coming, I see this, I see that. I went through a lot of those kind of psychics and nothing really came out of it. It's a waste of everybody's time.
Got you. Okay. Thank you for breaking that down. Now let me ask you this. How accurate are your predictions?
So as far as accuracy is concerned, I want to say that nobody is 100% accurate, because if they are, they would be God. Having said that, I want to say that I am at least over 90% accurate. Most of the times what happens is, it's not that the readings are not accurate, it is more in the interpretation of either the person who is reading it, meaning the reader, in this case it would be me, or the readee, which would be the client who is listening to it. And partly it's because of the references or the conditioning that somebody has when they have the question, when they ask the question. And I'll just go and relate this back to the reading for the elevator guy. So the reading I gave him was they would meet in a space which is like dark and confined. So I could have just said that, hey, you'll meet in a dark alley. And I did not say that, because if I had said you'll meet in a dark alley, that is sort of right, but not quite, because I
Yeah.
kind of reframed it. But I just gave it to him as I had it, which is you'll meet in a dark place. Now, dark place could mean a lot of things. You could like go in a bathroom, and the bathroom is also a dark place.
True.
But in this case, it was like an elevator. So I think it's all about the references and how you like how you will process the references and how the reader processes. Sometimes, I may have a different reference and I may not say it properly. So it's all in the references, as well as the way you pose the question, the way you interpret what the other person is saying as well. So I'll give you an example just to make things clear.
Okay.
So this same gal whom I told you about, the 10 10 readers who told her that her BF was going to come back and be with her. She came to me like later on down the road sometime, and like I told her, like, she wanted to know how her week would play out. So I looked at the reading and I told her that she would get communication from her ex. So she had like an ex in mind, and she assumed that she would get communication from that particular ex. I didn't say anything. I just let it be. She came back to me the week after and she said, you know what, it was right. I did get communication from an ex, but it wasn't the ex I was thinking about. That's what she said. So it's kind of a little tricky in the sense it depends on how you interpret it. I only said it was a ex, but she assumed it was the ex she was wanting to hear from. But it was somebody else. It was still an ex. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. No, that makes perfect sense. Okay, awesome. Thank you for breaking it down that way too and giving examples. So my next question, who would benefit from getting readings with you?
Okay, so we are talking more about the relationship space, right? For the dating site, or
we can, anybody actually, if you want to, just anybody who would benefit from reading from you is fine too.
Okay, so I'll say it in relationships first, and then I will just say it in general. So I want to say that for relationships, people who are looking to figure out or find out what their next boyfriend or girlfriend is going to look like, how you'll meet them. I gave some examples, what kind of profession they would have, the timing, and so on. So that would be like one specific type of reading for relationships. But also more general questions, like the example I gave of somebody having to choose between 4 or 5 people. So if you have a situation like that you want to choose between 4 or 5 people and you don't want to end up wasting your time, if somebody were to eliminate 3 of them, then you could quickly ask a few questions to those 3 people and eliminate them. So like people who are looking to narrow down their choices, whether it is for relationships, whether it is for career related issues, say work related issues, or whether it is for a business issue, like which partners or which clients you should eliminate. So that could be one thing. People who are looking to sort of get a glance in the future on how things are going to play out. And once again, this could be for relationships. It could just be for the future of your business. Like how is this business contract going to play out? How is this job, like if I take this job, how will things play out in this job? Like somebody was asking me the other day that this was a lady who was calling for her son, and she's like, so is my son going to lose his job? And some of the people, they are a little more proactive. Like if I tell them that things are not going to work out in their job, they immediately start looking for jobs. So that could be one thing. It could also be like, where do you need to focus your efforts? Like this particular lady, she had like 3 or 4 places where she could focus her efforts in looking for work. So I told her that these two, she has like the highest chances of where she could find something. One of my other specialties is to be like really accurate in terms of seeing through what's going to happen in the future. So like if you want to get a general reading just to test the waters of how things are going to play out in the next week or so, and then you can kind of make it more specific as related to your love life, to your career, to your finances, to your business, and so on. So all those people, and people who are kind of undecided as to what it is that they should be doing forward, they can get a little more clarity in terms of moving forward. Those could also be the people who can benefit.
Gotcha. So almost anybody, because honestly, anybody could benefit from any of those areas to some degree in their life. Okay, that's awesome. All right, and then do you have any freebies that you're giving out to help people decide if having a psychic reading or coming to a psychic on a regular basis would benefit their lives?
Sure. So people who are looking for love readings in terms of wanting to get to know their future girlfriend or future boyfriend, I have a freebie where they can opt in, and you can put the link in the show notes. So they can opt into that freebie, and once they opt in, they'll get to know a description of their future girlfriend or future boyfriend. So that is one freebie they can look for. And then if they just go to my homepage, there is also a weekly reading that I do. It's a general reading, but essentially you can end up seeing how your week is going to play out and compare the results of how the week is going to play out, so that they can get an idea of whether something is going to work from them or not. Like the guy's example I gave you, whose son almost like stabbed him emotionally.
Wow. Okay.
So those are the two freebies they can look at.
That is awesome. Okay, and then the sake of this being a relationship podcast, I'm gonna ask you a few questions. Okay.
Go for it.
So if you were to go out, say if you met somebody, or you could be currently in a relationship, but if you wanted to go out on a date, name 3 places you would like to go out on a date.
Ooh, name 3 places I would like to go out on a date. Okay. The places I have in mind, I may not be able to go out because everything is closed right now.
I know.
Because of the COVID thing, but I would definitely love to go out somewhere like in the water for a boat ride. That would be one thing.
Okay.
The second thing would be for a hike somewhere in the mountains. And since things are closed, I want to say like maybe a walk on the beach, if that's even allowed, because I haven't gone there. The only places I've been going is hiking lately. So, but I would love like a nice dinner or something. I don't think that's possible right now.
Yeah, it's not without the mask and everything else, because now they're just starting to kind of open certain restaurants back up, but it's not they're not all opened up, and then the restrictions to it doesn't really make it like romantic or anything like that. Okay.
Yeah, it's honestly, it's too restrictive. And if you're going to be scared of whether you're going to contract COVID, I would say that it's better you cook at home.
Yeah, stay home. I agree. I definitely agree. The last question. So, do you have a memory from like a first memory, whether it be a first kiss or just a romantic moment with someone that you don't mind sharing with the audience?
Ooh, a romantic moment with someone that I don't mind sharing with the audience. I think I have to leave myself out of the reading and share something related to one of my clients.
Oh, that's fine.
And that would be a fair thing to do. So I would have to, okay, I will share the story related to the one of my clients. She has actually been with me since almost the time I got started, which is like 6-7 years ago, and she still reads with me.
Wow.
And one of the things that she told me, like I gave her a description of her current boyfriend, like her future boyfriend, and I told her how you would meet her, how she would meet her. So she ended up meeting the guy, and then she said that it was a very, very short meeting. And she said, so if I go during this time, am I going to see him again? And I said, no. And she didn't. And I think that was about the only meeting they had. That's one. And then for the same person, I'll just give one last example of how things played out.
Okay.
And this was, I told her that, you know, she would meet this guy in, I think this one was maybe where somewhere there could be drinks or something. And I told her that they would run out of time. So what happened is she actually met him in a restaurant, and he was a bartender. And because the restaurant was closing down, they ran out of time. So that's how I would like to leave that question.
Oh, wow. Okay, no problem. I understand. All right. Well, all of the information that you gave will be in the show notes, the freebie, your website, and all of the social channels that you provided, so people can connect with you. I want to thank all of the listeners for tuning in today, and until next time.
Thank you for tuning in to today's show. If you liked this podcast, please download and subscribe. If there's anything you would like to talk about in regards to relationships, or would like to be a guest on the show to speak on relationships or get advice, you can always connect via social media at Playing for Keeps or email DJ at info@p4kdating.com. Thank you for tuning in, and bye for now.